With the new Pikmin 4 trailer from the Nintendo Direct, I do want to emphasize this is just sort of that like first glance analysis maybe. We'll do more of the deep dive a little bit later, but man, we got a lot of stuff here kind of. I mean, I hope you guys really enjoyed that Direct. Everything about the environment is obviously like the plant life. It looks really nice. It's gonna look though like a lot of stuff you would see just out there in the real world because this is at someone's house, largely. We see a lot of enemies that we know and also some that we don't know, I guess, but I did just want to freeze right here again. We see these little water spouts from the ground a little bit later on too. I was thinking one of two things. The latter is probably less likely, but I'm assuming it's going to be some obstacles and like blue Pikmin will not be phased going through them. It's sort of like fire coming up from the ground. You know, red Pikmin can walk through that, but everything else is going to be damaged by that. So that's probably more likely. I was just thinking also though, what if it's like the geyser, you know, you can actually use it to traverse somehow, like it'll just blast the Pikmin upwards or something. But anyway, as I say, we will absolutely deep dive into this and spend more time, especially on really significant things. But notice here inside the house, this is really cool. I don't recall that we've actually been inside the house yet. Notice the stove, you know, on the burner over there. It's looking like there just straight up is an open flame. First off, somebody put these people on blast, just leave an open flame like that. But surely for your Pikmin, once again, another obstacle, right? And like your red Pikmin are probably going to be okay going over that, whereas the others will take damage and scatter about. So this was something, you know, this might very well be the same exact red Pikmin clip right here, just from the previous, but same with Oatchi. If we just kind of go back though, you see there's often these little like gemstones. So you can see right there, they're pink. A little bit later, I think actually coming up pretty soon, you see the Pikmin actually carrying what looks more like a light blue, whitish gemstones. And I believe that was Colin right there. I'm still going to kind of hold to probably a theory that a lot of you guys have had already, is that Colin and Shepard, they are most likely two non-customizables. I don't even know that that's really confirmed. It's just that when we got those Japanese images from the Pikmin website and they were translated, you know, it kind of came with more of a story. But we do later on see other castaways, other potential captains or whatever. We'll get into that, but there's the title. This is just beautiful, you guys. Again, look at all those gems. I think that's, of course, right here just to outline, hey, that's the sort of boundary of the onion, right? Like, so that makes sense. I was just saying that fits really in line with the decorative appeal, which right here we're going to see. Okay, so they're going to throw these red Pikmin. There's 20 right now that they have to get. They had 30 reds. You can actually see in the bottom right, of course, you've got your totals. And I do want to emphasize that's all your Pikmin totals. So you see the entirety, like, you know, you're going to see here, we can fast forward just a little bit just to show you, like if you've got ice, yellow, red, you've got a whole squad of different types of Pikmin. The numbers will be clear, right? So 40 out of 40, that's their squad. They've got 20 reds, 10 yellows, 10 ice. Like it's very clearly laid out right here. So that's kind of nice. It looks good. You're also going to see though, something that was hidden from previous directs and previous trailers is that on the far left side right here, we have an HP bar, and likely that'll be for any castaway that you're playing as, basically any playable, because Oatchi also has the HP, and it's just terrible. It's just awful to think about Oatchi getting hit by something. But yes, we do see it a little bit later on. I believe one of the Bulbors, don't they hit Oatchi? But yeah, we'll go back to this scene of the jars. We've seen Oatchi actually crash into jars before, but look, here's some more of those little white gems. Like at first I thought that was ice when I was first watching it. I was like, oh my gosh, are they carrying something that's ice or frozen? But it was completely outside, you know, the sun's there. It's not melting clearly. And it looks like the gemstone sort of theme that I'm talking about. So yeah, I did just want to backtrack a little bit again. Oatchi sneezes. Listen, hey, Oatchi, if you got COVID or something, you gotta stay home, man. But yeah, we see him actually go up to this watch right here, and he's gonna carry this pocket watch with the rest of the Pikmin. The only thing that's interesting here, you know, it takes 7 to carry this thing, right? We see that. They've got 4 out of 7, and then Oatchi comes and it only goes up to 7. So Oatchi makes up that 3. We've seen though in the past, Oatchi has carried an item by himself and it was 10 out of 10, right? So I've mentioned this several times, I know. I want to deep dive more into some of the things. So there's more we could point out about the house and whatnot. I'm going to go to this next thing. We obviously saw the stamina meter once again, if you want to call it that. Really, it's like a charge meter. I feel that might be even better for what we're talking about here, is that Oatchi charges the jars, and that does take waiting till the charge meter is fully charged. And something we've talked about in my previous videos analyzing Pikmin 4 is that whenever Oatchi jumps into the water or out of the water, we see that bar come back up. And the likely thing is something that y'all's comments were, something that I kind of believed, was that it's very likely it could be the same button, you know, to charge. It's just that you hold it all the way down for Oatchi to actually do the charge. Whereas if you just press it once or whatever, like that's probably going to be to jump in and out of the water. But we definitely see finally Oatchi is traversing some deeper waters right there. Like if it was any question to anybody, I doubt it was, but just in case, Oatchi can actually literally swim through. He doesn't have to just be able to wade and like walk through it, So Oatchi can swim. But right there, man, like what the hell, dude? Pikmin 4 gonna show us straight up slapping Oatchi like this. But hey, they've never shied away from me. I wouldn't say gruesome, but it's like sad, right? Anytime the Pikmin die, you have to hear them squeal, and yeah, it's awful. Game Boy Advance SP, this is great. Gotta love it. Is this the Cobalt Blue right here? I would say Palm, that's the name that we've seen so far of our captain that we control, but we've confirmed that that is a customizable one, and you can name whatever you want, so I don't even think they name it Palm in this. Don't we see her name a little bit later? But anyway, I was gonna say Palm, that's worth some money right there. That Game Boy SP, so anyway. So this is kind of in line with other Pikmin games, but like you're collecting the treasure, quote unquote, like you're just collecting items. In Pikmin 3, you think about like the cell phones, right? And that's gonna fix or extend the radar on the ship, and that's what allows you to explore even more areas, basically further on the story. The obvious thing that we're gonna see in some of these next scenes is like the elephant slide, that's very classic, like what, Little Tykes or somebody. There's a lot of brands that I think have made their own, but that's what's cool. Like Pikmin has kind of never shied away from that, I would say. The baseball is gonna be another example that we've seen, Japanese Pikmin website and whatnot. I'm thinking also though that this is an enemy just because it seems colored a little bit differently, but at the same time I could just see that the water, it is kind of rippling in like a small waves. This could be like a rubber ducky, I don't know. It would be completely white, but all we got was the head peeking over right there. We've seen toy boats a number of times right here, but also just notice over to the left there is going to be, it looks like one of the electric walls, so you're going to need your yellow Pikmin for that, most likely, of course. The scene of the house is kind of crazy. By the way, if any of you have kids like myself, like that's very common. There's going to be toys everywhere, right? No matter how much my wife and I clean up, there's just always toys in the living room, especially. I was actually going to point you to where this lamp is. You can see sort of, like at first I thought maybe smoke, but you can see that the camera moves and there's no movement in that line. And so I'm thinking that that's just like a cobweb, like spiderweb, cobwebby stuff. So yeah, I think there's a lot to uncover about this house. And so again, I want to kind of make deep dives. We'll do that a little bit later on. But here, yeah, you go underground. A lot of people were talking about caves and stuff. All they called this was just underground. But here you go, man. There's going to be a lot to this. And I think people who are really familiar with the franchise probably don't shy away from that. But I only really played Pikmin 3 and of course Pikmin Bloom, but I doubt that counts for what I'm talking about. Is that sort of stuff does get kind of overwhelming for me. But it's okay. Just don't shy away from either the dark. There's going to be treadmills. There's going to be sort of a lot of working parts. And it's interesting that they showed this on the underground because this actually looks like this would more so be indoors somewhere. It's like, are we now in a basement that has like this sort of aquarium setting? Because just notice that sort of background wall and even the plants, this gives you a very fish tank feel, but it doesn't appear to actually be within glass or anything, and the water's not all the way to the top, right? The water's just all around. So this is sort of like when you go to those public aquariums and stuff, but maybe somebody who's like a hardcore enthusiast, I don't know, maybe we actually do go to like an aquarium, which would be kind of fresh to be honest. But I guess what I'm just saying is that they did include this on the whole underground section, right? The narrator mentions like crazy contraptions, weird devices and stuff, and that's looking like, your yellow Pikmin can get that down because you can throw them higher than the others, so that's probably what's going to be necessary to actually pull this down. And it looks like one of those, the eraser that you use on a chalkboard, but it could actually be a brush. You see that there's a strap for your hand to go through. And then I'm sure you guys noticed also in the background of that one, we'll play that clip over and over, is that there we go with those gems again. And so in the narration they talk about you're going to find some castaways potentially underground too. A nice little touch that this is kind of, it's probably going to have some moisture and stuff. Like you can see there's fungi. Look at that, little tiny mushrooms. Not the types of mushrooms that you could actually destroy in Pikmin and stuff, I'm just saying. Just a nice touch. But we've known this about the castaways, is that they are faceless because you customize them, right? So they're looking all NPC-like, just gray and faceless, but this will confirm. I'm sure you guys are already knowing this and seeing this, of course. So it's just going to take 3 Pikmin right there to pick this castaway up, and they carry them on over. But before we get to Bizarro Captains, Bizarro Oatchi right here, you guys, I did just want to make sure you saw this in the previous scenes too, but in the top left, you do have your meter for the daylight, and I think they sort of went with like the ship theme, right? That looks like your speedometers, your odometers on cars and things. But yeah, that's how much sunlight you've got. And I do want to fast forward when we see the nighttime clips and actually through the gameplay, they have the same meter. It's just that it's got the moon. So obviously we're going to see how much daytime and how much nighttime you've got. And they do put a section in red. We can all presume that that's just sort of the danger danger zone, like, hey, it's going to end soon, start wrapping up your tasks for the day, start wrapping up your tasks for the night. Those familiar with past Pikmin games, if you left your Pikmin out and didn't sort of wrangle them by the end, like that was sort of your warning to try to get them back, right? The danger zone. But yeah, we see this little, I don't know, Elmo version of our captain. Dude's got some nefarious intentions or something. What if we actually find out they're like good guys? What if they're trying to save the castaways as well? Like who's to say these guys are bad? But hey, we do have to compete with them. So Bizarro Oatchi goes, grabs his captain, jumps down. It looks like the same passageways for underground, but no, this really just takes us to actually a brightly colored area. And this is going to be like collect treasure mission mode almost, but you got to maybe like bingo battle or something. I'm referencing past Pikmin things for anybody that's brand new, of course. I know some of my direct audience, they can be a little bit new to Pikmin. So again, I might do deep dives on Dandori, but just something that you should notice with this Dandori battle is that look at your Pikmin and then look at the opponent. You will likely cross each other, I would imagine, on the map. I should actually confirm you will cross each other because your Pikmin right here, their leaves are blue, whereas the other team, they've got those kind of fuchsia leaves right there. And you can actually see sort of a fight over this mini Bulborb. Notice how you've got 2 blue, but you've got 3 on that pink. And so obviously, I would imagine if you're being overpowered, you're going to have more Pikmin than the others. And I should say further confirmation is that, you've got evil Oatchi, Bizarro Oatchi right there. You can actually send your Pikmin on it. And so we are throwing Pikmin like mad over here on our side on the left. And that's probably just to temporarily take out the Oatchi. Like I bet if let's say you destroy it, quote unquote, like you take away all the HP, it probably just goes back to the onion or something and you have to like re-get it. Let's say they destroy your Oatchi, you may have to go retrieve Oatchi there. But yeah, so I bet Dandori's gonna get a little bit crazy at the end. Like the first ones are probably super easy. This is all just my conjecture though. And again, I probably want to deep dive on that later, but hey, you won. It was great. It was a landslide victory, I feel. But look at what happens after. We've got potentially captains. We've got other castaways. Now notice here, what's interesting about this is that everybody's sort of wearing that standard red suit, right? But then there's that one character, that one potential captain that's off kind of by the onion, and they're in all white with blue, actually. And so it's either just going to be another story component of that, maybe another castaway that you control, or at first I was thinking, like, is it going to be co-op? Like if, let's say you play in co-op mode and they just want to be distinguishable. But then this next scene, it shows icons above everybody. As we'd expect, Shepherd is where you go to train. And so Oatchi's got a pup drive. You can tell that, Oatchi's pup drive is 2. So probably Oatchi can't really learn anything that goes higher than 2 right here. Learn buff level 3. It takes 1 of Oatchi's pup drive. You're gonna see it says with the strength of 10 Pikmin, exploration and transportation efficiency is sure to improve. So that must have been it. What I was talking about earlier with that pocket watch, that might mean that Oatchi just does start out with 3. What if Oatchi only started out with 1? I doubt it's starting at 1. It might be like 3. I'm trying to think actually, what would be good intervals here if buff level 3 is the strength of 10 Pikmin and that appears to be the highest that it goes? Does that mean maybe Oatchi just starts out with 1? I don't know. The only thing we do know for sure, like we can make a lot of conjecture and theories, but I'm just saying for sure, we've seen that Oatchi gets to that pocket watch at the beginning and it counts for 3 points, right? 3 strength. So either level 2 is 3 strength or that's what Oatchi starts at. We will find out, right? But notice Oatchi's chomp, we would imagine, of course, that's just attacking, so you can make Oatchi more powerful. Learn rush, and so when we say the charge, the charge that drills on through those jars and things, we really should just call that the rush. Rush could just be the action too, like jumping into the water, when we see the stamina wheel, if you want to call it that, from the past. But the meter, that could just be the rush meter. And then finally we see learn doggy paddle, level 2. So maybe Oatchi can't traverse certain waters actually is what that means, at least until you've learned the doggy paddle more. But to be honest, I should get ahead of myself actually, because jump learned. So just to actually jump into the water, maybe you can jump elsewhere. Like what if Oatchi can traverse more landscapes by jumping, but obviously can dig too? So that might just be like Pikmin, how they can dig. I doubt it's like an immediate dig, but hey, I could be wrong. I was gonna say, like, what if it's an immediate just digging something up? You sniff for a treasure that normally you can't see and Oatchi will dig that up. But learn heal, isn't that interesting, you guys? So Oatchi can either heal itself or maybe heal you if you've taken damage. Typically your Pikmin don't have like HP, let's call it, but of course, they can be overwhelmed. We've seen in the Japanese Pikmin website for Pikmin 4, you can lose your flowers. Like, what if Oatchi can give them more flowers? But yep, teach it buff level 3, good boy. Now its drive is 1. And so you can see here in the next scene, of course, after the Oatchi stuff, we've got Colin. That looks to be where you actually go to your next part of the story. You know, it says like next and it's got a sun. So that could actually literally be the next day. Now, there was the official fandom or wiki. Somebody was calling that captain over there Terrence, because people have shown that that's like a customizable captain. You know, we got a screenshot actually where the captain had a different skin tone, but it looked, you know, exactly like that. Had those crazy eyes and stuff. And I think he had hair, right? The bald guy, quote unquote, is what everybody's been calling him. But maybe you do, maybe you don't actually customize that one. But it is interesting to see this captain, quote unquote, back and looking exactly the same. So here we go. Now, this is what I'm talking about, you guys. So it's all coming together, isn't it? I've just been analyzing step by step, but it looks like this is what you're gathering those gemstones for. It says materials available, so you're actually gathering those gems as materials. So it's all coming together, huh? So in this, we have 164 materials. You can buy rush boots for 120. I don't know. Should I save some of that other gear for a deep dive? Here, I'll just show you what the gear's called. Maybe I'll deep dive into that, because it's like there's gear for Oatchi and there's gear for you. So, okay, the lab, you've seen it. Just note that this will likely have the gear, which is your equipment or whatever that the narrator talks about, but also items, so those are probably likely consumable. And you guys, I don't know what kind of name this is, but Yanni, sorry if I offended someone named Yanni out there. It's a new named character that we've got, but this is what makes things a little bit difficult, is that you see the mouth is open and Yanni's kind of got the head shape, sort of looking like the bald guy almost. These names may not be set in stone at all, but Yanni does have this doctor's reflective mirror, so you think this is like the head reflector of a doctor, or maybe it's just a headlamp, I guess. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen that in the character customization, so it makes me wonder, like, is Yanni more of like a story-related captain that you get? Or do you actually customize Yanni? Maybe you can give them certain headwear. And I guess I should have confirmed back when we got the Dandori battle results, the character was named Lisa instead of Palm, so again, like, we knew that at this point, that Palm was not the official character. Like, we knew that it was customized and all that. Just to mention though, that other captain castaway person that's dressed differently, we can see those types of facial features and whatnot in the character customization. I can show those on screen here. But yeah, you really do have to wonder, like, are Colin and Shepard you really maybe the only ones that are kind of more set in stone? Just to touch on that theme again. But yeah, Yanni's talking about, like, are you eager to go out on a night exploration, a night expedition? And so what I have to wonder about these are, I initially thought it was just that you wait for when the daytime ends and then you do the nighttime in the same exact place, but it may be that you actually can, maybe you have to play through a day one to get to a night one, but you can possibly jump around. Like, maybe you can potentially not have to do nighttime in the same exact place you did daytime. Like, what I mean is forced to do that, right? That's what I thought it was going to be initially. I thought it was going to be like you first do the daytime in one area that you land, and then you have to do the nighttime specifically there. But no, like, if you talk to Yanni, it might just be like talking to Colin. I wonder if you can just do like only day and then you like go and only do night. You know, what if you want to do a nighttime and then another nighttime? I don't know. But obviously we got glow Pikmin. Are you guys excited? A new type of Pikmin, you could say. It's only available during nighttime though, so like, is this really going to be considered a new Pikmin for sure? It's kind of more like ghostly Pikmin. I think of it like Sonic Adventure Chows. You remember that? When the Chow, you would give it the bat or whatever and it would lose the legs. It looked like a ghost Chow, but yeah, you got these ghostly Pikmin. And so the thing here is that they actually, sort of like Oatchi, they have a rush meter, you could call it. You know, they've got a charge meter, and it's not like you just use this infinitely, right? Because it did have a grayed out cooldown meter afterwards. The mounds that they came out of, they sort of look like termite mounds. The enemies are going to be attacking those. Clearly, we got to help them, save them. It's going to be probably like winged Pikmin that I don't know that they do a whole lot of damage unless you do it like a burst. So if you want to look at glow Pikmin just being thrown, like look at this Bulborb right here. We've got it just in the upper 20s. They start throwing and it wasn't really doing a whole lot of damage just when it was piece by piece like that. But look at all the damage that we do right here. Now there might have been some previous damage done, just prior damage to this enemy. But if that really is that sort of burst technique right there, the rush, then holy, those glow Pikmin, they got some power right there. But you can use these fans, of course, when you're inside the house to traverse to new parts, jump around. That's pretty cool. If we just slow down, like they move kind of fast in the trailer, but if you just slow down all of these scenes, there's got to at least be some beauty you can see, sometimes some new things maybe. I'll save anything super important for a deep dive, but yeah, I mean, you get to look at enemies, you get to look at certain treasures. When you're in the house, there's this panel. You probably have to go to that console and put blue Pikmin. You see how it says 000? So like red, yellow, and blue. So you probably do something, but with an amount of Pikmin, and it may not even be even. What if it's like, you know, you have to do a certain combination, you have to figure it out. Like maybe the code is 237, you know, and it opens something. I don't know. But the house is always interesting to me, these indoor scenes and stuff. So those are more so what I want to deep dive on. So please be expecting that and Pikmin 4, you guys. There's going to be a demo. I believe that was June 28th. But dude, please stick around this channel if you want to see it streamed on release day. And I'm playing through Pikmin 3 right now. What an awesome segment from the Nintendo Direct. Click an end screen. And thanks for viewing.